Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown. My two regular co-hosts of Mark Hanf and Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money are off today, but of course we have Patty Cohen, our residential real estate guru. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. You're going to use that number to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate given away during this show. And that certificate is not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tan Bella Tanning Salon with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. Today's trivia theme is miscellaneous trivia. All right, Patty, let's get right into it. What do you got news-wise for us, real estate?
Well, we've been kind of a broken record for at least a year.
Yeah.
And even more so this year. It's been a huge, wild ride up since the pandemic and really, honestly, since 2012.
Wow.
And so the longest period of economic prosperity, is this going to end? Everybody's got their thoughts on it. Well, we have now a significant shift in the market. Okay. But I will not go so far as to say that it's a buyer's market.
Ah, okay.
I think that there's 2 things happening, and that one thing that didn't happen last year that has happened every other year is summer vacation mode, right? So
yeah,
that last year kind of didn't happen. Everybody was home and they were focused on real estate.
Yeah.
So how much is it just basic, vacation mode, summer mentality, or how much is it buyer fatigue? There's a lot of buyer fatigue out there.
There is, yeah. Which is kind of interesting because at Pacific Private Money, one of the benefits there is that people with buyer fatigue are using them to make an aggressive all-cash, what looks like an all-cash offer, to beat out other offers that might take the normal time to be able to say, listen, Mr. Seller, I'm going to close this deal in 14 days.
Yeah.
So there's no loan contingency. I'm effectively coming in with all cash. Here's my offer. And,
yeah.
Is that better than the story of, oh, my grandmother's lived in this neighborhood for 50 years and we want to be close to her,
Yeah. I put something in escrow this week. It was listed at $685. An older woman, she's 80, and she's kind of emotional about it. She's not that attached to money. One offer at $700, and neither of them had zero contingencies, but one had a loan, but not contingent, and it was $700. Then later that day, something came in at $735, 10-day close, all cash, zero contingencies. And she liked the first person better. Huh. And I asked her if she liked him $35,000 better.
Exactly.
And she's like, well, not really.
Well, then what you do is you send him a nice little love letter that says, we really, really, really like you, but unfortunately, I like $35,000 more.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's right. That is exactly right. But let me tell you, this is kind of like a war story of what's been happening. So, of course, went back to the next buyer. The next morning, she had to think about it. Whatever. Next morning, tell the buyer, you got it. She just said, you know what? I'm going too fast. I'm up in the mountains right now. I just left today. This is going too fast for me. I could think of a better investment. I'm not doing it. Went away like that fast. It happened twice over the weekend with another property too. So we go back to the first guy that she likes.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. He didn't want to do it. No. This is what's happening. So there's a lot of buyers kind of checking themselves. Like, I wouldn't want to belong to a club that had me as a member.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I got it. What? I'm not used to that.
Wow.
So, that was on the weekend. Yesterday, we got him back in escrow. And it took
at a higher price or at the same amount?
A little bit lower, just a slight bit lower.
Oh, okay. Because I'm wondering if you would have gone back to them and said, you know what, we have this other offer. We had this other offer at $735, whatever, 35,000 more. So let's call it $735. But my seller, kind of likes you if you can come close to that figure. That way it's.
We did. That's what I mean by buyer fatigue. Like, do you think, I was talking to the other agent, do you think he could come up at all because we were at 735. Can you come up at all? Boom. Push back. No.
Wow.
And it was like, well, she'll take 7.
Yeah.
No.
And the thing is, you're very good about pricing, not, going crazy with the prices and trying to negotiate lower. When you come right out the bat, you come out with, well, listen, this is the fair price.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get it sold.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Isn't
Wow.
it? And I mean, that happened with another property too. The same thing. As fast as they got in there, as fast as they got out. So
Interesting. You think
it's
that's going to
been
be the
changing.
trend? Is that going to be the
But
trend? You think that's now a
um,
trend or?
I've seen this cycle a few times,
Okay.
and it's been about 2 full months. Like June was quiet, July was
You know
really
what? When we
quiet.
come back, let's talk about advice for
Yeah, yeah,
sellers
yeah.
who are going to be in that situation. Okay, we're going to cut to our first commercial break here. And before we do, want to make a mention for Palio Restaurant, which has been the premier Italian restaurant serving downtown San Francisco since 1990. It's no surprise it's been voted best Italian restaurant in San Francisco Weekly this year. They're consistently been voted one of the best restaurants in San Francisco by San Francisco locals. Check out Palio, that's PALIOSF.com. All right, here's our first trivia question. What company introduced the first handheld calculator in 1967? Call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer is going to win that tanning certificate. Don't touch that dial. The Best of Investing is going to be right back.
All right.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Edward Brown here, along with Patty Cohen. Mark Hanf and Nam Phan are off today. First trivia question. What company introduced the first handheld calculator in 1967?
Hewlett Packard? No.
No, Texas Instruments.
Oh yeah,
Remember
TI.
that? The
Yeah,
Texas
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Instruments one, yeah. So,
yeah.
Patty, before we cut to break, you were telling us a story about how the seller had gotten offers, but then when the buyers found out that they got the house, they sort of backed out. And you're seeing that kind of as a little bit of a trend. What advice do you have for sellers?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like if you're a real estate agent and you are not in the game every single day, and I mean in the game, like not like, oh, I'm working and I'm watching MLS. I'm talking about doing a lot of business, because then you can really see the trends for yourself. Um, you have to find an agent that's doing a lot of business,
Yeah.
that can really identify what is going on, because it changes almost daily, weekly. And um, June shifted. July is quite a shift. And what we're seeing right now, and it just shift, meaning it was quiet. Now the multiple offers are still happening, and it's still going over asking, and we're still getting one offer and it goes over asking. That's very common.
Huh. But will that
But
buyer stay with it?
yes. Oh, now the buyer's staying with it, because what's happening is buyers start to see, hey, that's been on longer than 5 days or 7 days, and what happened? So
Yeah.
they're starting to, they've already, we call it buyer fatigue. They've already either gotten out of it or gotten sick of it or pulled back or
Yeah.
something. But the ones that are still in it are starting to doubt themselves, like, why is that one still available?
Yeah.
Um, so then there's the get in, get out thing, which is just not trusting yourself,
Yeah.
and really not trusting the agents, not trusting the sellers, like who's really telling the truth here and what is true value.
Yeah.
But
Willing buyer, willing seller, really.
yeah, it's what buyers will pay.
Yeah.
So if I just paid that, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm overpaying. But the other thing that's just starting to happen this week that I'm seeing is, and I've seen this many times in my career, where buyers just go, I'm out. And I'm going to bid on that house next week if it's available. So let's wait till Friday and see what happens. Now, we all know what human beings are like. We're creatures of habit. We
Yeah.
all think alike, even though we think so differently. Like we're all going to take that secret shortcut when we're driving that no one knows about. Well, everyone's taking that secret shortcut, right? So
Yeah.
everybody has the same idea. I'm not going to go compete like everybody else on Tuesday or Monday. I'm going to wait till Friday, and if it's still available, then I'm going to bid on it. Well, what happens is everybody's doing that. So it's taking longer to sell, but we're still getting multiple offers just a little bit later.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So if you're representing a buyer, you might want to say, you know what? Don't do what everyone else is doing like that. Just put in your offer and get it done, because this is what's going to happen. You're going to end up paying more.
Yeah, yeah, that can happen too.
Yeah.
And and the question, like I do mostly listings, so I'm keep getting the question, when are you looking at offers? Well, right now I'm not setting offer dates for any of my listings. It's not,
You're not saying what?
I'm not setting offer
Oh,
dates for
no,
any of my
gotcha, gotcha.
listings. I'm telling them we're taking offers as they come. So that gives 2 or 3 people more confidence to step up, and they're going to compete with each
Smart.
other, or they're not. And either way is fine, because that's what the market is doing right now.
Well, let me get right into this email question we received that says, I'm hearing that home prices are starting to decline a bit. Will this continue?
See, that's that is the question. And buyers are now the ones that are kind of emboldened, and they're over their buyer fatigue. They're like, prices are dropping. This is great. It's like prices really aren't dropping. They're just leveling. It seems to me. That's my prediction.
And the problem too, that I can see is, like, it's like when interest rates drop and people say, well, I'm going to wait on refinancing because they're going to drop some more. Well, maybe, but maybe not. It doesn't necessarily mean that the first drop will lead to the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then where's the bottom? You're never going to catch the bottom.
Yeah. And you've seen them go up a little, down a little.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I got really lucky on my refinance. By the way, your screen froze. I don't know if you realize that, but I can't hear you. So I'm going to talk for a little bit, and you might have to go back out and come back in. There you go. Okay, now I can see you again.
I know. I saw you just frozen. I'm like,
I think I may have gotten lucky because I refinanced my house and I got fixed 1.99%.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, but it was 15-year, but no fees. I mean, well, the very little fees. Like I say, very little fees on that.
That's
and
fantastic.
I was below the jumbo, extra jumbo or something. So I think I caught that right.
You hit it.
Yeah, I got kind of lucky on that. I mean, you never really know where's the bottom. But you mentioned about an experienced agent, and I just heard a story last week. This is a very, very high-end property in San Francisco where the person decided to hire her friend to sell. And we're talking about $9 million property. Yeah. The friend really didn't know what she was doing. And then what ended up happening was it was still on the MLS, and then apparently it was in an auction at the same time. And people were confused.
Yeah.
And nobody bid. And now this person has not been able to pay the mortgage, and guess what's happening? In foreclosure.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a series of bad choices.
Yeah, a series of bad choices. Had she hired a good agent to begin with,
right,
it probably would have been. So the interesting thing is it's the second mortgage who's foreclosing, and I look at this and I say, you know what? There's nobody's going to bid on this property, because especially with that new rule 17 or whatever it is, SB 17, where this person who loses the house has the opportunity, or a potential new buyer has 45 days to basically say, well, I'll bid the same amount plus $1.
Wow.
Yeah. So the lender basically is going to end up owning that property, and maybe in 46 days getting cashed out or owning the property.
Wow.
And it's really a kind of a not great situation, because the value of the property is maybe 15% higher than the total loans. And I don't think that there's enough equity in there to take the risk.
Right. And back to what you say, value. What is the value? Like maybe that 9 million is really 7.
Yes.
Like an experienced agent would be able to tell them that.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult. I tell you what, we're going to cut to our second commercial break. Make a quick mention here for join the Napa River History Tour on a beautiful 2-hour kayak tour. Napa's most revealing and provocative secrets you'll be able to explore. Perfect for all fitness levels and experience. They'll include kayaks, life jackets, and paddles. All you need to do is just show up and enjoy. Call 707-227-7364 or go to NapaRiverHistoryTour.com. All right, second trivia question. What moisturizer is derived from sheep's wool? Call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer is going to win that tanning certificate. Don't touch that dial. Best of Investing will be right back. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, along with Patty Cohen. Second trivia question. What moisturizer is derived from sheep's wool? Lanolin.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yes, Lynn, I knew you knew. I knew you knew that.
That's old school.
The next question is a little easier. You'll get that one.
That's grandma.
Okay, so I got a deal of the week here. So this client has lots of equity in her home, and she wants to make what looks like an all-cash offer on the new house, and has most of the down payment. And this was actually referred by a mortgage broker. So what we're going to do is we're going to fund the loan quickly to be able to lock it in, and then the mortgage broker is going to take it out with a conventional loan. Kind of a typical situation of our our bridge loans. And because they're making a fair all cash offer, they didn't have to overbid. It's not costing them that much for our fees as compared to how much they would have had to bid for the house.
Yeah.
Right. So they're actually, using, quote, hard money and actually saving because they're not having to overbid
Wow.
the property. So it's quite
interesting.
Quite a good thing. So,
that is a good thing. Wow.
Yeah. My son actually sent me this thing here about there's a tear down house in Walnut Creek. It was gutted by a fire over a year ago. It is getting multiple offers at $850,000 for a burnt out house.
So it's lot value.
Yeah, but I was going to say the problem though is when you have a house that's been burnt, I mean, unless you're going to completely level it all the way, you get some potential problems. With all the fire, the smoke, the stuff that happened, that stuff lasts for a long time.
Hazards. Yeah.
Can you imagine a tear down for $850,000?
Right.
In Walnut Creek?
Right. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, there's a lot of toxins in that, all that plastic burning and all that.
Yeah.
And you've got to dispose of all that.
So I don't know if they're going to level it or not, but that was, I thought, again, kind of crazy with the activity. And I was reading an article here about home builders are intentionally not selling because they're creating a lot of pricing power. So,
smart.
Yeah. And so they'll just kind of wait, I guess part of it too is, with the supply chain being interrupted and, lumber prices and all that, it's like once you've got your house pretty much built, you can command probably a lot more.
Yes, right? Exactly. Yeah, people don't want to build anymore. They don't want to build.
I mean, it's crazy. I don't know what what are they going to do about all the housing that's needed? Because not everybody's moving out of California, are they?
Right. I mean, everybody talks about this moving out, but there's a lot of movement within.
Yeah, exactly. And there's still migration in.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I mean, maybe we lost a seat because there was a little decline. I don't know how much of a decline in population, but, it'll probably come back.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And seeing a little article here, Fannie Mae aims to make home loans more accessible. So mortgage giant Fannie Mae is making it easier to include rent payment history as part of the mortgage approval process, a move intended to help borrowers with limited credit histories get better access to home loans. Which, kind of makes sense. I mean, if you can show that you've been able to make mortgage payment or rent payments, maybe your mortgage is going to be higher, but of course they should consider that.
Oh, they should. Totally. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like the old days of, during Bill Clinton's era where it was, everybody should own a house. Well, not really.
Right.
A lot of people are not quite, responsible enough. And we've talked about this before, with COVID and the moratoriums of not kicking people out. I'm wondering why isn't the government paying the mortgage or paying the rent directly to the landlord or lender instead of giving free money to people to not pay their rent and spend it on vacations or cars or whatever else they want, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to help them in addition and say, listen, we're going to totally pay your rent and then we'll give you a little bit extra for food or necessities. Okay, that's I can kind of see that because you have at least some control. It's
Yeah,
sort of like when they used to give out welfare checks, you weren't allowed to spend it on booze and cigarettes.
that's right.
I
That's
mean,
right.
yeah, there's ways around it where, they'd sell the vouchers or something, but why, again, because I look at this and I say, if I'm the landlord, suddenly I'm being caught in COVID that, don't make your problem my problem type of
That's
thing.
right.
Because can I tell PG&E I don't have to pay you because of COVID?
Yeah,
Right?
that's right. That's right.
Or State Farm Insurance,
Yeah,
hey, by the way, I know the house burnt down, but I didn't have to pay my premium. You still have to pay the insurance proceeds.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what? And I think that the whole context of how they're looking at this is that, the big bad landlord and the poor little tenant. But a lot of the landlords, most landlords, are just
Mom and
worker
pop.
people that
Yeah.
bought a house and they're planning on living on it for retirement, and now they can't pay their bills. But they're the bad landlord.
And what's going to happen if suddenly all of those landlords are going to start losing their property in foreclosure? What's
Right.
going to happen to the prices?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's got a bad domino effect. So I don't know, what the problem would be. I mean, I know that there could always be people messing with the system. Hey, Mr. Landlord, let's just say that I pay $5,000 a month when I only pay $2,000, and we'll split the extra. I mean, there's all kinds of
Yeah.
scams you can come up with, but other than the scams, is there any problem with what I'm thinking?
No, I mean, that's brilliant. I never even thought about it or heard about it, but it just seems to make sense to me.
That's why they're not going to do it.
Yeah, I
It makes common
know.
sense, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Tell you what, we're going to cut to another commercial break here. It's been fun talking about all kinds of things here. All right, now definitely you're going to get this question. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. The koala eats the leaves from which tree? Okay, what do koalas eat? And they're not actually bears. We call them koala bears, but they're
They're
marsupials.
not bears?
No, they're marsupials. I guess they're closer to kangaroos, even though they look like bears.
Oh.
A little history lesson for everyone there. Okay, or not history, but animal facts. All right, call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer is going to win that tanning certificate. The koala eats the leaves from which tree? All right, stay with us. The best of investing. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to the best of investing. Again, one more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Patty Cohen of Compass Realty. And our third trivia question: the koala eats the leaves from which tree?
I think it's eucalyptus.
It is eucalyptus.
Hey.
Very good. Hey, you batted 333 today. That'll get you in the Hall of Fame.
That's
All
right.
right, Patty, you have more real estate news for us.
Well, okay. So there's a shift in the market. It's been long overdue, but here's some thoughts about that, right? Buyers are thinking, oh my God, prices are going down. I've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
Well, they're not, because we still have low interest rates. And we still have the millennials finally starting to come out. Like you were just saying, like people are renting, they're not buying.
Yeah.
Well, and we've been talking about on this show for at least 10 years, like, where are the millennials?
Yeah.
Well, they're out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are out now. And the baby boomers, in that 19-year span of baby boomers, the middle of it is age 65, 66 right now. What happens with people like that? They want to get away from the big house and the two-story house. So that, whatever it is, I think it's 56 to 76. If those people, and that trend, both of these trends are not going to subside. They're only going to get bigger, because millennials are going to get older and they're just starting to come out, and the baby boomers are going to get older too. So, and they're competing for the same thing, which is basically one-story houses. That millennials like that ultra modern, one-story, ranchy. So we're going to still have this demand. And then interest rates, yes, they might go up, but let me give you an example of how powerful interest rates are and how they affect the home buying process, right? Just kind of big picture perspective. Now, I'm just talking about Marin County because those are the numbers I pulled up, but the bottom of the market was 2012. And in July 2012, the median price was $700,000.
Good.
Right now, the median price is over 1.6. But
Crazy.
I'm not even going to compare then. I'm going to compare 2018, middle of 2018, with the middle of July 2021. So the average price in July 18 was $1.3 million. The average price now is $1.6 million. It's actually over a little $1.6 million. That being said, remember how for the past 10 years plus, interest rates were so low?
Yeah.
But that being said, in 2018, the interest rate was 4.54%. Right now, it's 2.78. So yeah, they're both low historically, but that makes a big difference. Okay,
Sure.
so what kind of difference does it make? If you bought the median priced home in 2018, your payment would be $59.31.
Okay.
That's $1.3 million house, 4.54%. Buying a house right now at the median price, putting 10% down, $1.280 million loan at 2.78%, your payment is going to be $52.45. So it's going to cost you less to buy that house, even though you're paying more for it. $686 less. And even more potent than that is look at 5 years down the road, how much you've paid in principal and how much you've paid in interest. It's staggering. It's tens of thousands of dollars. Look at 10 years down the road with the difference in those two rates, tens of thousands of dollars. Depending on your, it could be $100,000 depending on your, and in 10 years depending on your loan amount. So low interest rates matter. And if buyers can get in right now when it's so low, prices are not going down. They're leveling. They feel like they're leveling. No one can predict what's going to happen, in the fall, next spring,
True.
2 years from now. But, this wild ride we've been having for 9 years, it's subsiding, but we're not going to see a big crash down. And we know the psychology of how humans think. We just think, well, the last pattern is how it's going to go this time. Well, the last pattern was the crash of 2008. That's not going to happen.
No, not there's the statistics don't show that.
Nope. All the indicators do not go there. So, get in the game, buyers. Your payment's going to be lower than it was 3 years ago at this time when the prices were, more than 20% lower. So that makes sense, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All righty. Any other you want to tell us any more fun real estate stories?
Well, they're out there. There's a lot of confusion, and there's seller expectations that, there's that story about bears do this and bulls do this and the pigs get slaughtered.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of sellers are kind of getting into the game because they're expecting that same rate of increase, and now they're certain they're going to get it, and this is the time. And that's exactly when buyers are pulling back. So seller expectations need to be adjusted. We can't expect to lob on, 10% over asking and get 8 offers. I mean, it does happen, but it's not the norm anymore. Buyer expectations need to be adjusted also. The sky is not falling. Do get in the game because it's not as harsh as it used to be. You have a really good chance of getting that house. Don't wait, just do it because everybody's waiting a little bit. Just get in there and take it. It's yours for the taking.
And also if you do it before interest rates start going potentially up, because we're talking about inflation really heating up pretty soon. That usually helps real estate prices.
Yeah.
And, again, if the prices go up and interest rates go up, I mean, that's going to be really challenging for people to make those mortgage payments.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do they say? Real estate is the ultimate hedge against inflation. So we've got rates going up. We've got prices going up.
It's so funny because you hear all these ads about gold, and it's like gold hasn't really moved that much.
I know.
Yeah, it's. It's funny because I remember many, many years ago. I think probably talking about 1980, 81. I think it was around $1,900 at the most, and now it's like $1,700. And now there was a time it went down to about $1,200 or something, but still, it's just not there. And I think part of the reason is gold doesn't have the same intrinsic value. You know, we don't use it as much
Right.
for actual real stuff, especially
Exactly.
since we have, you know, paper money, so we don't need gold coins. And gold for being used in, you know, fillings or whatever, they have other kinds of material for that. But a
Yeah.
house, everybody needs a place to live, and some people want to live in nicer houses than others. So,
Yeah.
you know,
And last I checked, the government didn't give you a write-off for your taxes and mortgage for living in your house and owning a home. And you didn't get to leverage it. I mean, where else can you put down like 3% in some cases and
yeah,
$1 million house?
that's true. You own gold. There's no benefit on that part, because
Yeah,
even if you margin it, you know, you have some limitations with margin interest. All
totally.
right.
Totally.
All right. So when we come back, we'll have some closing thoughts. No trivia question yet, but stay with us because we've got about 4 more minutes to go after this commercial break. Can you believe it? It went very, very quickly.
It really did. This was great.
Yes, it did. And Patty, give out your information before we.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm Patty Cohn. I am with Compass in Marin County at 415-722-4842. And you can email me at patty.cohn, PATTI.COHN @compass.com.
Perfect. Stay with us. Best of Investing. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Patty Cohn of Compass Realty. No trivia question, but Patty, you got some interesting stats for us.
Well, yeah, I mean, I looked at, you know, this has been an incredible year, like barely coming up to for air to look at anything. I'm into like between pending and closed and active listings, I'm into like 32 transactions so far this year. Anyway, so I looked at the first half of this year compared to other first half of years, and most of them are pretty consistent, and I'm talking about dollar volume sold. So the peak was 2018, but it was pretty consistent with the last 10 years first half. Well, the first half of this year for dollar volume sold in Marin County, for example, was 3.5 billion. Well, what does that mean? That means 65% higher than the peak, which was 2018. But the peak was only about this much higher than the rest of them. But 2021, way up, 65% up. Now that accounts for the price that's gone up too. It's the median price we're talking about in dollar volume of sold. So we have prices up and we have a number of sales up, but 65% since the highest ever.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are there other, what about, let's say, you know, the high-end market versus the low-end market?
The luxury market is so strong.
And what do you consider, what's the definition of luxury market?
I like over 3 million.
Over 3 million?
Maybe over 4, depending on where you are. But, you know, people are buying with cash. People have money. They're buying with cash. They are coming in first day, over asking, 7-day close, cash.
Oh, especially at those big prices. That's amazing.
Yes. And
you know what just drives me crazy is, you know, someone buys a property for, you know, $4 million. They're going to pay like $45,000 a year just in real estate taxes.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Then that's, I mean, you get your extra school bonds and all this other stuff, and you go, where did that money go?
Yeah.
They say, well, I don't even have kids in the public school. Doesn't matter, you know. Yeah.
Well, and part of it is they're just parking. You know, maybe it doesn't matter. It's not a financial decision, but sometimes it's a financial decision, and they're just parking money because where else they're feeling like I can't get even better. My money is safe here.
Yeah, that's a good point, because even though the stock market's at pretty close to an all-time high, there's nervousness. You know, people don't know what's going to happen economy-wise and political-wise, but again, real estate seems to be, it seems to be a good hedge. Let's put it that way, because especially, you know, like you said, 2008, things went down quite a bit and took a while to come back, but they came back even stronger. And if people have a long-term outlook, it's not a bad way to be.
Yeah. One thing that has changed a lot, there's a lot less foreign buyers. And that changed, that changed before COVID, but it changed even more. Like, am I going to be denied from going into the country where I just bought my $8 million house?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And
That's
but also the just foreign money. Like for example, in Atherton, a lot of Chinese buyers were just coming in and parking money into like a $20 million house, letting it sit there. So what used to be the Leave It to Beaver neighborhood in the
yeah.
50s is now like every third house is just sitting there vacant.
Well, how do they prevent squatters and
Exactly.
yeah,
Some lucky person gets to live there and watch the house.
yeah, I'll sign up for that.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready for our thoughts for the day?
Yes.
Before we do, give out your information one more time.
Yeah, I'm Patty Cohn. I'm with Compass in Mill Valley, Marin County, 415-722-4842, patti.cohn@compass.com.
Great. All right, here's our thoughts for the day. Confidence comes not from always being right, but from not fearing to be wrong.
Ooh,
I like that.
right.
And then
Oh.
Harry Truman said, a pessimist is one who makes difficulties his opportunities, and an optimist is one who makes opportunities of his difficulties. I like that.
Ooh.
And my wife just found out I replaced our bed with a trampoline. She hit the roof. All right. Tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing.
Investing.
So long.